Vanit Sethi 133, and Amy Martyr. um, when we're VNC'd in,
sorry about that. But the thing is that the resolution on my MacBook is appearing a little different. So
is it a little grainy?
Not grainy, but I believe that you're using your external display.
Yeah.
So I am not really able to view the full screen of that.
Can you plug your MacBook into your Thunderbolt display?
But anyways, I don't think so. I'll be able to record in that case because the resolution of what I'm recording and what I'm viewing will be different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you actually see what I'm pointing at right now? Or is it cropped off?
It is cropped. Yeah.
It's cropped. So tell me, what I'm going to do is just move my screen up.
Yeah.
Can you see this now?
Yep.
Okay. So what I need to do is probably work in the top left-hand corner of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do go below, I'm going to move my mouse below. When I get to a point where it crops, let me know, okay? So then I know where I need to stay above.
Okay, sure. No. So I am only able to view till your job, the job folder 134, Sean Walter.
Okay, so just here, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So I need to stay above that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So basically, there are 3 jobs in here already prepped and set up. There is Amy Martyr,
Mm-hmm.
Denise Sethi, and Sean Walter. Now I'm going to take Amy Martyr.
Okay.
And you two can kind of fight amongst yourselves as to whether you want Vanit or Sean.
Okay.
But all the folders have the same type of files in them. Okay, so I have the original folder.
Mm-hmm.
I set these up for you. Now, Amy Martyr's is a little different. It's got 2 in there because the one that she actually chose is blurred from the photographer, and I didn't realize that, so I've got an alternative.
Okay.
And then what I've done is I've put in the PSD file that I always use as a standardized template
Mm-hmm.
for all these photographs because, and I've done the same for these jobs. You've got the PSD and you've got the original file.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you need to use that PSD because when I open this up a second. Okay. Bring this up. Okay. So this is a picture of John DeSago. This is just one. I took this from when I did John.
Okay.
Now, where are my channels? Can you see this side of Photoshop with all the palettes?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So this is the photograph that we had of John at the PAP meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and as you can see, this is the original. And then what we're going to do is I put that background in.
Yeah.
So this is a generic color background that the photographer shot for us a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When we had the majority of the shots done. So whenever we get a new one in, we need to put the person onto this background.
Yeah, got it.
So what we're going to do is now we're going to do this with Amy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to bin John. Okay, and I'm just going to find Amy's photo. Okay. So copy of the photo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to paste it in. Now, the resolution of all of these photos is 6 inches, 6 by 8 at 300 dpi.
Okay.
And so we typically do all of them at that resolution, okay? But the photographs the photographer provides are bigger, you know,
Okay.
they're high resolution.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is, if I view my guides, every file that is set up, because I duplicate this PSD, to create consistency across all the photographs, these guides are kind of, they're in place and they should stay where they are, because what they do is they provide a guide for the size and position of the head. And the head really takes up approximately 25% of the overall canvas space.
Yep.
So when I dump it in, I use the guides, and I am just going to transform and scale Amy down so that she's kind of in a good spot proportionately. Sometimes I go a little bit over because it depends on the shape of their head. And you want to get them a kind of a good balance, a good size. I mostly focus around the height because the width does change.
Yeah.
But you also have to take into account how big their hair is and what they've got going on with their hairstyle. But I think her head kind of fits. There's a bit of space around the top, the left and right of her head there. Shoulders are nicely capped off. So I'm just going to keep that as it is. Okay. So I don't need the guides on anymore. I'm just going to save as I go. So I'm just going to save that a second.
Okay.
Right. So let's get into it. We have to do two things. Get rid of that old channel. So what I do first of all is I am going to cut a path around her shoulder line on both sides, and also around the jaw up to where the hairline starts, because those are pretty solid edges, and it's just easier just to cap those off. So just bear with me a second. This is the kind of the boring part I was talking about. Try and get through this as fast as I can.
Sure.
Because then we can get on to the really interesting stuff.
हाँ तो कर दिखाएगा ना अभी तो देर में आया तो तूने क्या नौटंकी देखने जाना है चुरा नहीं ले जल्दी अरे तू देखता जाना इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता है यहाँ तक पहुँच गया हम तो कहाँ हैं
उस साइड पहुँच गए
अरे वो धीरे धीरे आता है ना
नहीं वहाँ से डायरेक्ट पहुँचे
जो भी है थोड़ा धीरे भी तो आता है लैग भी तो होता है
तेरी साइड भी आ गए
हाँ तो मुंह तक ही तो ऐसे करना ना इसको यहाँ तक करना ना
ये मास्क करेगा काटेगा थोड़ी
चल देखा
ऑलरेडी कटी इमेज है ऑलरेडी कटी हुई इमेज है प्रॉब्लम तो वहाँ आती है ना जहाँ पर झाड़ियाँ हो पीछे चक्कर ये ऑलरेडी
Okay, there we go. Just crop that off. Okay, so I've got my path there. Easy. Channels. So this is where we're going to do a lot of the work. We're going to find a channel that has the most contrast between her hairline and the background. So I'm going to scroll through the red, the green, and the blue. Now I would say out of all of those, the blue is probably got the lightest background.
Okay.
You know, the green here, this is a little, let's measure it. It's about 34% black, blue, we're looking at about 28. 20 down here. 26. So we've got there's a little bit more contrast. Red is just, the hairline starts to become a little light. So there isn't enough contrast, especially around here. This is going to be really difficult to separate. Okay, so I think out of all of these, blue is the one that I want to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that channel. Okay, so now I've got a blue channel, just like a layer. And we're going to use this one now to create a mask. Now, so what the objective is now is I need to create a silhouette of her on this mask all the way around the shoulders, around the hairline, and back. So this is all solid black, and then this background is solid white. So also forgive me if you hear a lot of rustling on the phone. I've got the phone up tucked in my shoulder, and the hair on my face is probably rubbing against it. So,
no, I think that's fine. Your voice is quite clear.
Okay, good. Okay, so what we're going to do first. What I like to do is start off by using curves. So I go to adjustment, image adjustment, curves. Okay. Bring my curve in. And this is good because this gives me the full range of tones, from the highlights all the way down to the shadows at the bottom and then the midtones in between.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm just going to bump the curve up, bump the highlights up, pull the shadows down. Okay. And I'm just kind of freestyling it at this point. There's no real rhyme or reason why I'm picking these coordinates, but I'm just trying to create a nice smooth curve so that they're as you can see, we're really starting to pull, make these the midtones, pushing them towards the shadows, and pulling the lighter tones towards the highlights.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I start to measure this now, it was, if you look down here in my info, it was 17. Now it's 4%.
Yeah.
23 is 8. So we still got a ways to go, but I think this is kind of moving in the right direction. Which is a little darker on this side, but pull some of those midtones down a little bit. Got a nice smooth curve there. I'm just going to OK that. Okay. Now the challenge with Amy here is this fine hair around here. I don't think we want a lot of this, so I think what we're going to do will naturally eliminate it because it does look a little scraggy, a little kind of unpolished. But I think she's got kind of quite a nice little hairline going on here that we can kind of work with and use, and then actually eliminate a lot of these fine kind of wispy hair pieces. So I'm actually going to go back to curves again. I didn't want to do it all in one go because I just didn't want to kind of overdo the whole thing. So I think I do it kind of step by step. So what I'm going to do now is, because I'm kind of close, 2% down there, 14 there. Certainly going to just pull this top end across now. That's giving me 0 there, 0 all the way around. Okay. Got a little bit over on this left edge, but we can work that out. Okay. Pull this down on the bottom. As you can see here, we're starting to get close to 100 on a lot of this. If not, it's getting close. It's okay now, for now. So, now I've kind of got that where I'm kind of happy with. I think I am going to now start to fill this in.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to my path on her shoulders, and I'm going to select it, make the path active. Okay. And now I'm going to go to my brush over here. And I'm just going to select a pretty big brush. It's going to have a hard edge. I mean, it can have a hard or a soft edge at this point, but I like to work with harder edges when I'm filling in, just so that I know that I can see where I've been, and you don't get that kind of feathered edge where you might miss something, or have a tone that isn't 100% black. So that's good. Make sure that I've got black. Okay. Now, because I know I cropped that path a little bit inside the outside, I'm confident that I can go all the way up there to the edge. Okay. And that is now 100% black.
Yep.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is inverse that. Now you're testing me because I rarely go to the menus. Where's inverse? And then quick key, there it is. Okay, select inverse. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just going to hide that. I'm going to get a smaller hard edge, and I'm now going to use the white. I'm just going to take that, anything that was sat outside of that path away. Okay, and then the same on this side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to this because there's a feathered edge here. I don't want this to be solid because naturally this is a little bit behind her face, the shoulder line, and it should be feathered like that because there's a depth of field going on in the photograph that we want to get rid of. So let's just take that up to there. Okay. Now we can actually also, while I'm at it, just get rid of, I can get pretty close in here. It's to be a little bit loose here because I don't want any of those hairs, but I'm just going to try and get rid of a lot of this. Okay. Let's just do a quick check of, get my eyedropper. Let's just do a check around here. It looks like it's all 0. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. All right. Now then, what I'm going to deselect that. Get back to my brush. Let's zoom in a little bit. Medium-sized brush. Okay. Make that black again. And I'm now just going to fill in. Just start to fill in her face. Get into the hair a little bit.
कितना हो जाएगा So that should all be pretty solid in there. Now what I'm going to do is now get a softer edge brush.
Okay, something like that. And now I'm just going to start to blend that edge, that hard edge that I put in.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a little tricky around that crown,
Yeah.
but you know, we'll get as close as we can in there.
नहीं नहीं ये ब्रिटिश है ये कभी दुनिया में
इनको इंग्लिश नहीं आती है मुझे सबको बताती है
महाराष्ट्र रहती है थोड़ा बताओ.
Okay. So as you can see, we get a nice little silhouette forming
Mm-hmm.
of the outline. Now, you know, I know you might think to yourself, well, I could just cut a clipping path, I just could put a clipping path around there and I could get a pretty good result. But we're not, you know, the object here is to make this look so realistic that somebody looking at this photo wouldn't know that we've put on a different background. And that's going to require some of these finer hairs. We don't want all of them, but we are going to want some of them. So let's just get up to this area here. Now, look at my eyedropper again. I'm looking at about 5% tint there. So I'm going to go back to curves. The top end, so if I move this over, so if we start at 255, I'm down at 235 is like, I've taken about 20% tint out.
Mm-hmm.
If I preview that, okay, you can start to see that all of that scrub dot should have gone. What it also does is also starts to eliminate some of these fine hairs.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You know, what I'll probably do is just bump the bottom up a little bit, so that we also do retain some of those hairs, and then we can pick and choose which ones we want to keep. Okay. So I think with a softer brush, smaller one, I'm just going to now get a little selective, you know, about what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep. Because you can have these finer hairs just floating around in space. You know, they've got to be attached to something.
रिकॉर्ड तो हो रहा है ना.
रिकॉर्ड में कभी वो आवाज नहीं आती ना.
एक्चुअली ठीक है. हाँ, ये तो ठीक है. चलो इसका बैकग्राउंड क्लीन था. मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि
यार वो फिर ट्रिकी होता है ना थोड़ा. वो ऐसे ही करना पड़ता है, पर थोड़ा जोर लगा के. हमें तो ये भी नहीं आता.
हाँ बट मेन तो है मोस्टली ऐसी क्लीन इमेजेस आती नहीं करने को, जितनी आती है रफ ही आती है।
ये तू यहाँ कोई बिट्टू स्टूडियो में थोड़ा बैठा है, तेरे को ऐसे ही आएंगे।
ये सारी लीडरशिप की ऐसी होती है, कोई पार्टी की भेज दी उसने, इसको कर दो।
नहीं, ये सारी पार्टी की नहीं, प्रॉपरली खींची हुई है। खींची इवेंट्स में ये वो अलग बात है, बट प्रॉपरली खींची हुई है। ओरिजिनली हमारे यहाँ तो जो ओरिजिनल थी वही चलाना, इतनी बढ़िया है ये।
ओरिजिनली ठीक लग रही थी मेरे को।
फिर
एक एक बाल पे काम कर रहा है।
अभी तो और करेगा, देखिए टेक्सचर काटेगा। हम फोटोग्राफर घंटा है जो आता तो इसको सब कुछ।
दिन में तो एक 2 इमेज कर पाता हूँ ऐसे।
नहीं, तू कर पाया तो ये तो कर लेगा एक 45 मिनट में।
हाँ
तुझे लग जाएगा।
एक्चुअली मैं करता तो हूँ, पुरानी ई लर्निंग में तो इमेजेस काटने बहुत मतलब काटने का काम था, लेकिन इस लेवल का मास मूव करके मैंने किया है, लेकिन वही तब अरे हाँ।
Okay. So I think now we've got a pretty good outline of Amy Marta on that mask.
Yeah.
Just going to hit save again. Okay. So, back to the layer. Now I'm going to duplicate this layer because what I want is I want to be able to compare the original background against the newly created one. So, what I'm going to do now is I am going to apply a layer mask. So add layer mask to this layer. It doesn't really matter which one to do it to, but so I've got my layer mask here.
Okay.
I assume you guys know layer masks pretty well, but you know, so I've selected the layer mask over here. Go back to my channels, and now I'm going to make this active, this channel active. So just drag that into load the channel as a selection. Okay, and now I'm going to inverse that. So that when I go back to my layers, to my channel mask, if I now hit the fill button, in the foreground, and then deselect that, I've done it the wrong way. So let's just go back one, and then let's inverse that. Okay. And then let's fill that again. Okay, and then let's deselect that. Okay. So, if you look at the original, we can start to see where we've lost some of our hairline and what we've kept. So we've still got some fine strands there. I don't think it's done yet. I think we've still got to do a few little touches to just to make that, because it's a little bitty in places, it's scrappy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm now going to, actually I'm going to do two things. Okay, we'll start with the shoulders. Okay, I am going to go to my blur tool, and I am going to blur the mask. Okay, so I'm just going to work along the edge of that mask. Going to soften this up, because if you remember on the original, this was slightly out of focus, this edge.
Yep.
Okay, so let's just undo that again, just to see. So we've gone soft blur, soft blur. Okay, and if I look at the original, it's still a bit blurry. So let's just bump that up a fraction. It's not too bad. It's also just soften off this edge. It's not perfect, so let's just give it a bit of a feathered feel to it. Okay, so that's pretty good. And now this side's blurred. It's not quite as blurred, and that's usually there's two stages of blurriness. This edge is a little more than this edge, so we're going to apply the same. Okay, pretty good. And this is a little sharper, but it's still got a fraction on it. Okay. Now I think shoulders are pretty good. Let's just move to the hairline. And we're going to do the same with the hair. I think, you know, the hair isn't hard. It is in places, but I think generally a slightly softer edge will help this. So I'm just going to run this around. And by blurring out some of this stuff, you start to see some of these finer hairs there just starting to knock back.
Yeah.
You can see it here now with this stuff. We may have to rework this bit. I'm not terribly cool with that right now. But it does help, you can see there. Kind of. We may even just eliminate that altogether. I don't know. I don't think about that.
I think we can try eliminating it because
Yeah,
it's.
I agree. I don't think it's adding anything.
Yeah.
I think actually for this, when you see it against that grey background, it's a bit messy. But I think it's starting to get there. Okay, so let's just go back over here. Go to our brush. Okay, 100%. Knock that down a bit.
सेम पॉइंट पे था उसको यूज हो सकता है उसमें यहाँ पे डिटेल रिक्वायर्ड हो गया था उसके लिए उतनी जरूरी ना
If I want to check, I can always go back and check the layer mask. See where we took it out. there. I think we'll go up here and probably do the same. Okay.
काटेगा उसको, आएंगे ही नहीं, ठीक है तो खराब ही हो गया, मतलब तो खराब ही हो गया ना।
क्या खराब हो गया?
ये बार ये है, ठीक तो आएंगे ही नहीं ना।
देखता तो जा,
हाँ,
अभी तो इनकी रबिंग पॉलिशिंग नहीं होगी। ये तो तेरे को यहाँ दिख रहा है ना, छोटी में थोड़ा दिखेगा है इनसे।
नहीं लेकिन अगर ये पोस्टर बनना हो तो फिर उस केस में तो दिखेंगे ना ये बाल।
पोस्टर की बात अलग है, फिर तो और काम करना पड़ेगा उसमें।
छोटे में तो कुछ नहीं पता, छोटे में तो पेन से ही काट दो तो नहीं पता चलेगा।
पेन से काटेगा तू, ये जो ऐसे बिखरे होते हैं ये भी कट जाएंगे ना।
नहीं, अब एक एक बाल को अगर आप हटा दो पेन से,
हाँ है, चल एक एक बार को बनाने बैठेगा तो रात हो जाएगी।
फेदर दिखता है ना फिर।
यार बड़े में दिखता है ना, इतने में दिख रहा है, जानी तो इतनी है फोटो। सीख ले, तेरा क्या जा रहा है?
हाँ नहीं, मैं तो सीख ही रहा हूँ, अच्छा ही है। कुछ पॉइंट एक्चुअली सेपिड में तो कुछ सीखा ही नहीं, वरना जेनपैक में हमें बताया ये सब, एटलीस्ट सिखा तो रहा है अगला बंदा, मेहनत तो कर रहा है।
दूसरी बार एक बार वहाँ मुझे बता चुका है।
सिखा चुका, अच्छा आपको तो हाँ। और ये बालों वाला तो मैं पता नहीं कितने लोगों से पूछा।
Okay. Save that. So I think I think that's pretty close. So just saving it a second.
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, we've lost some stuff, but I think that's it's for the best. And it isn't just a simple straight hard path around it, even with the feather. You know, we've got some detail going on in here, up here, which just makes it feel a little more natural, a little realer. And it certainly ties into, you know, the other stuff that we've been doing as well. So, you know, you can take off that background path and just take a look at what you've got going on, a white background. Yeah, I think maybe get rid of some of this stuff unnecessary. But, you know, you can get in, you can kind of tweak this as much as you really want. One thing I have done as well in the past is, and it depends on the hair itself actually, but I might choose a brush that has a like a specialty brush, such as I don't know, where are they? Sorted brushes. You know, some of these brushes can be kind of effective, especially something like this one. You know, if you wanted to get kind of, you've got a piece of hair that maybe needs a bit of, you know, it needs you just to get in there and kind of mix it up. So you haven't got just a smooth edge brush, but what you are doing is actually just kind of chipping away
Mm-hmm.
at the brush, I find that this one can be kind of effective for getting in there, you know, and it just because it is a little random, you know, hairs,
Yeah.
you know, the hairline has got kind of hairs splitting off here, there, and everywhere, but you know, sometimes that kind of brush can be effective rather than just doing smooth edge brush, because as you can see, it can start to get a little bit samey around the edge. But I think we're pretty good right now with what we've done with Amy. Pretty satisfied with that. I mean,
Yep.
if I now kind of just scroll through my layers, my channels, I just want to make sure. Let me get back up to the photo. Why am I not seeing that in black and white? Oh, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, just making sure that the channels all look pretty natural as well, and that there's no kind of hidden errors going on the channels that I might not see when it's a composite.
Mm-hmm.
I think looks pretty good for now. So that's pretty much it. Once I'm done, I'm just going to save. Now, what we need to do is we create two versions.
Okay.
I will save this high res as a JPEG, just as a straight JPEG.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a different side that we also save as well, because in the folder there is in the collaterals folder there is an executive portrait.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that.
Folder. So I'm just going to save this one as a JPEG in the file, in the marker. Okay. Maximum quality. And then I am going to go to image size, make that 72 and a height of 3 inches with a width of 2.25. Okay, that. And then I'm going to hit JPEG again. Let's call this one small.
Okay.
Okay. Save that. Don't save that because I don't want. I want to keep the original large file. Now, if I go back to I've got the small one and I've got Amy Marker. I am just going to copy those to my desktop a second. Okay. Now in the collaterals folder, there's executive portraits. Okay, and then there is PAP master headshots.
Okay.
High res file and a low res folder. Now I know Amy has got a photo in here already. Now what I'm going to do is, just for safety reasons, I'm not going to bin it. I'm just going to move it to old, do not use.
Okay.
And actually, let's just put it in there and paste. Okay. So then I'm going to go back here, high res, drop her in there. Okay, and then I'm going to go do the same for the low res. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of the low res one. If I keep the high res one, I can always make a low res version. Okay. Is that going? And it did a bit at the bottom. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So as you see, there's some bits that I've already done. So that's pretty much it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Amy these photos
Okay.
to her and say, here's your photo. For your files, we've got a copy on file for our records.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. So here's these. I might put the actual PSD in there as well.
Okay.
Just so that's kind of the okay, put one in there. Job's done. So, with that said, what I would like is for you guys to take the other two, decide amongst yourselves which ones you want to do. And if you can follow those procedures, send them over to me before you send them off to the client, because I'd like to review them just to take a look, see if you've understood and managed to kind of
Sure.
deliver to the same standard as what I've done here.
Okay.
And then we should be good. So,
Cool.
if you guys, I don't know what you've got going on, but if you can fit this in at some point, sooner rather than later, would be appreciated. That would be great.
Okay. Yeah.
Any questions?
No, I think this time I at least got how to do it. And also since we have recorded, so I'll just go through it once again before actually working on it.
And I would like to try, in doing something, because I'll see recording once again, and after that, I'll try to implement or try to do something.
Okay. So, if you've got any questions as you get into it, give me a shout.
Sure.
Let me know, if there's something like when you try and go back, you weren't quite sure that you can't get from the video. But, I think hopefully that gives you a pretty good understanding. And who knows, maybe you can show me a few skills. If there's a technique that you figure actually works better.
Yeah, so I think I mainly have been using just the pen tool to create a kind of you can say